everybody. Welcome to Jubilee Circle this morning. We're so glad that you are here in the building and out there watching online. Darkness, darkness, be my pillow. Take my hand and let me sleep in the coolness of your shadow, in the silence of your deep. Darkness, darkness. Darkness, darkness, long and lonesome is the day that brings me. I have felt the edge of silence. I have known the depths of fear. Darkness, darkness, be my blanket. Cover me within this night. Take away the pain of knowing the emptiness of right now. Darkness, darkness, be my pillow. Take my hand and let me sleep. Oh yeah. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning at Jubilee Circle. If you're out there in TV land, you can download the bulletin. That is at jubileecircle.com. And you will find all of the readings and lyrics and everything you need to follow along this morning. So today we are continuing our Via Creativa theme, which is becoming light. And we're exploring how we give birth to the creative light of love in this world. It was that cartoon character Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes who once remarked, "I think nighttime is so dark so you can imagine your fears with less distraction." And I believe that many of the great spiritual thinkers through the millennia would agree. There are times in our lives that are so dark, all we can do is focus on our fears. And while that may seem like a bad and scary thing, I don't think it has to be. If we want to appreciate the light, darkness is necessary. If we want to know how to be the light in the world, a full appreciation of our darkness is really needed so we can spend time to fully examine and get to know our dark side. When we can do that, it's not a bad thing. St. John of the Cross, who wrote about the dark night of the soul we all encounter at some point in our lives, said, "Endurance of darkness is preparation for great light." He calls light a living flame of love, and that is us, Jubilants. We are just a living flame of love. Some of us flame more than others, honestly, but we are all that living flame of love. Often, though, the darkness in this world seems to overtake our inner flame, but the good news is there is no darkness dark enough to snuff out our divine, eternal spark. So instead of cursing the darkness, the holy invites us to enter into it more deeply, to learn the lessons that it brings to us, and then bring that darkness to our living flame of love, where it can be transformed from despair and fear into hope and love. Because when we can do that and make that transformation, then everybody gets to say,
oh yeah.
Please rise as your, or, well, no, stay there. Actually, yeah, stay there. Because we're going to call the 4 directions. You got to stand up to do that. I forget how this goes. I've only done it 12 years. Ow. So we begin every Jubilee circle in the same fashion. We remember the 4 elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire that is not lit over here. Hang on. Come on, baby, light my fire. There we go. And we burn black sage as a reminder that we need to set our intentions for our world, for our lives, for everything around us, so we can be living in an intentional state. So I invite you this morning, as we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the 4 directions, to set your intention for yourself and for this world. I invite you to turn and face the east. Holy One, awaken us to the light of the east. Bless us with the dawning of each new day. Light our path as we seek to reach out in community to those who may remain in their own darkness. Teach us, Holy One, how to embody your light so that the world may bask in the glow of your love through us. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. Bless us, Holy One, with an inner light that shines as warmly as the southern sun, inviting everyone around us to bask in its warmth, its glow, and its beauty. Holy One, make us shine brightly for you and for others in this world. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west. Help us, Holy One, when the light begins to dim. The darkness in our world is just as natural as the light, so help us to bless even the dark times instead of cursing it. Help us, Holy One, to understand that darkness is necessary if we are ever to appreciate the light. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. Guide us, Holy One, when we fall into our own pit of darkness. Instead of wallowing deeper into that pit of despair, remind us to go toward you, that holy light, our North Star. Remind us to go toward our holy community, where we find your light in others, and they can be a help to guide us home. And as we turn back toward the center, you got a bunch of folks around you who are a mix of light and dark, of sun and shade, and we all have that dark matter within, that shadow side that we have to deal with. But in this safe and sacred place, Jubilants, I invite you, confront your shadow, invite it out to play, because when you can bring your darkness to the light, that's when we all get to say, oh yeah, so good to see, so good to see half of familiar faces. Or at least 3/4 or 1/4 or whatever. I was always bad at math. So we're spreading a little sage around so everybody can get a little blessing this morning. All right. The band gets sage from afar.
That's good.
The sage is afar, so there you go. All right, remain standing, and we're going to sing a little opening song. We got a little Bruce Springsteen, a little Bruce for us this morning. And when we say it in this band, we mean Bruce Clark.
Yeah, I never could forgive him for stealing my name.
I know.
Yeah, so-
I know. Is he younger than you?
No, actually
He's
older,
than-
but
oh, okay.
but that doesn't matter.
He
Yeah.
still stole it. All right. Y'all all know this song. And as we sing, I invite you to greet one another this morning. Here we go. 2
and dance.
4.
Go to bed, feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but time.
much for dancing in the light here.
Yeah.
Very dark around here, but thank you for making it fun. All right, so a little bit about us. Jubilee Circle, we are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world. And we teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that is found in mainstream religions, in all metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers throughout the ages. We use popular music, teachings, weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, and other community-building activities to try to create a space for everyone to experience transformation so they can go out and transform the world. And we believe we're all here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation from the inside out so we can discover how to live into our higher divine self and then be that transformation in the world. We also recognize we are part of God's good creation. We are formed in stardust and love and joy, but we humans, we forget this. We slide out of mama and we just hit our heads and decide that everything is separate, that you're over here and I'm over there and never the twain shall meet. And so we live in this world of paradox and we start judging things. Well, that's beautiful, that's ugly, that's good, that's bad. They're generous and they're stingy, or hey, they're loving and they're
Recalcitrant. Belligerent.
obstreperous, recalcitrant. We are a veritable thesaurus here at Jubilee Circle, so however you want to say it. But, Jubilants, our function here is to be the light of the world and continually remember that we have never left that unity with God or with one another. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, coming up next week, we are going to use music from Dave Matthews. We're going to explore the light in the darkness. No, we're not doing Ants Part. It's actually a tough song. If I learn how to sing it before next Sunday. Dave Matthews songs are not easy at all. So just the other, although the chords are really easy. It's like 3 chords, but it's how he uses them.
Do I need the saxophone or the violin for next week?
You'll need the violin.
Okay.
Rock and roll violin, that's what we need. So stay tuned for that, that's going to be fun. No, actually we're talking about, what are we talking about? I didn't put it in my notes. It's about letting go. It's about spiritual hoarding. So it'll be fun. Anyway, so coming up this week, Wednesday night, our Course in Miracles discussion group will be at 7:30. Lee McEachern is leading this informal group. Whether you've been studying the Course for years or you're just interested in it and you're curious and you want to learn more, come and join us for, it's just a really informal discussion. We just read and talk and try to understand, which is hard enough. Anyway, and Thursday, we have our meditation workshop that starts at 6 o'clock. Lee and I held down the fort last Thursday, so so we'll try it again this week and see if folks want to come. And you can come on in person here or on Zoom. There is a Zoom link. Soundy School starts at 10:30. How was it this morning? Did you guys have a good time in Soundy School? It was sound. All right. All right, so, and then our coffee house and open mic will be the first Sunday in March, which I believe is Friday, March 4th. I did not update my notes, so I'm reading last week's notes, so that kind of sucks. I'm not helping myself at all. Okay, huh? March 4th, yes, March 4th. And Al told me who, but I can't remember. I have the memory span of a goldfish, so. I swim around going, nice castle, nice castle, nice castle. All right, so, is there anything else? They're all like, she's having a stroke up here. I don't know what she's talking about. All right, hear these wise and holy words. Ding. Ding, there's a dinger somewhere. Anyway. Bing. Thank you. From the Hebrew Scriptures, Job 7, 1 through 7. Hey, there it is. Dinner's ready. Order up. Okay, from the Hebrew Scriptures, Job 7, 1 through 7. After all that laughter, let's read something depressing out of Job. Here we go. Do not mortals have hard service on earth? Are not their days like those of hired laborers? Like a slave longing for the evening shadows, or a hired laborer waiting to be paid, so that I have been allotted months of futility, and nights of misery have been assigned to me. When I lie down, I think, how long before I get up? The night drags on, and I toss and turn until dawn. My body is clothed with worms and scabs. My skin is broken and festering. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember, O God, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. All right, here's a happy one. From the Jesus story, Mark 1, 29 through 34. As soon as they left the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told him about her at once. He came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. Then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. All right, we'll get to that. That evening, at sunset, they brought to him all who were sick or possessed with demons. And the whole city was gathered around the door, and he cured many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. And he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. From A Course in Miracles, chapter 18. You have to be willing to bring the darkness to light, and this willingness has given strength to everyone who would remain in darkness. Those who would see will see, and they will join with me in carrying their light into the darkness, when the darkness in them is offered to the light and is removed forever. My need for you, joined with me in the holy light of your relationship, is your need for salvation. Would I not give you what you gave to me? For when you joined your brother, you answered me. You who are now the bringer of salvation have the function of bringing light to darkness. The darkness in you has been brought to light. Carry it back to darkness. From the holy instant to which you brought it, you are made whole. We are made whole in our desire to make whole. These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. I invite you in this time of meditation to consider the darkness. I mean, we all know the story of Job. We're going to talk a little bit about him, and we know the darkness that he endured. And we know that sometimes his darkness was made even more unbearable by people trying to help him out of his darkness. So how many times do we try to escape our darkness too early, before it's taught us what it needs to teach us, before the lesson has been learned? And we have to go back to darkness again. So don't worry. And when you have friends sitting with you saying, oh, well, you must have done something wrong to be in this darkness, don't listen, because they don't know. They're just avoiding their own darkness. No, Job didn't do anything wrong. But his friends, his friends thought, he must have. Bad things don't happen to good people, and we'll talk about that. So I invite you in this time of meditation, contemplate those times when your darkness has been a light. Breathe deeply. Our song this morning comes from singer Kelly Clarkson. This song is called Darkseid, and it comes from her 2011 release called Stronger. 2, 3, 4. There's a place that I know. It's not pretty there, and few have ever gone. If I show it to you now, will it make you run away, or will you stay, even if it hurts, even if I try to push you out, will you return and remind me who I really am? Please remind me who I really am. Everybody's got a dark side. Do you love me? Do you love mine? Nobody's picture perfect, but we're worth it. You're worth it. Do you love me? Even with my dark side. I have never been accused of being a master gardener. In fact, plants tend to cower in my presence because I have a long history of an uncanny ability to get plants to wither and die over a short period of time. Instead of having a green thumb, I appear to have a black thumb. So despite my terrible track record as a horticulturist, though, I still know the basic ingredients that one needs to get plants, trees, flowers, and other flora and fauna to grow. Even if I can't actually do it myself, I do know how it's done. And some of those ingredients include what? Sunlight,
Water,
water,
soil.
soil, heat,
Yes.
okay,
Several times.
fertilizer, luck, yeah. That's
A caring heart.
a caring heart. That must be it. I am cold.
Nitrogen.
No, nitrogen, huh?
Ability to talk to plants.
Sing to them. All right. Yeah, some people talk to
Talk
their
to 'em.
plants. That's right. That's right.
Fresh air.
Fresh air.
Carbon dioxide.
But you know what else is needed? All those ingredients are crucial, but there's one thing that all plants need:
Carbon dioxide.
darkness.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Darkness. The seed has to be planted in the ground and covered up so we can experience complete and total darkness. Until the dogs dig it up, right. Bob understands. But that darkness is not just needed for the growth of plants, but darkness is also a key ingredient for our spiritual growth, whether we like that or not. Within the congregation, every single one of us has gone through what St. John of the Cross calls the dark night of the soul. Some of you have struggled publicly with illnesses, while others have struggled not so publicly with other things that many of us may not even know about. Whether publicly or privately, everybody in this room, everybody watching out there, has had suffering so great in their lives that while we were in the midst of it, we could have said those words of Job that we read in this morning's scripture. When I lie down, I think, how long before I get up? The night drags on. I toss and turn until dawn. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember, O God, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. How many times have we been there? My eyes will never see happiness again. So we're familiar with Job's troubles. And the story goes, of course, that Satan made a bet with God that this guy named Job, who was wealthy and known to be the most righteous and upstanding guy in the land, that he would turn against God If God were to remove all of the things that he treasured in this world, and God makes the bet, he's like, okay, let's do it. And in short order, Job loses his land, his wealth, his kids, and finally his health. His wife stuck around. Interesting. But Job, like any of us, when tragedy comes knocking on the door, he wonders what the hell he did wrong. And here is where we actually do get it wrong when catastrophe strikes. Instead of asking, why me, there's a better way. But we ask, why me? Because we've been steeped in this theological idea that bad things don't happen to good people. That's the basic premise of the prosperity gospel, is that material blessings and the general lack of suffering in your life comes because you've been good, you've been obedient, usually by sending wads of cash to your favorite televangelist, like they say you should, and then you'll be blessed. But the moment that all changes, when woes come and knock at your door and blow your house clean of everything you treasure in this world, we start to wonder, why is God cursing me? And this is what Job's friends did when they arrived to comfort Job, I use that lightly, in his time of despair. They keep trying to figure out what sin Job committed to have all this horribleness visited upon his family. What did you do, dude? You had to do something really bad. Look, it's what has happened to you. Job insisted he hasn't done anything wrong. He has lived his life by the book. He never has wavered in his devotion to God, and in the end, his friends' insistence that he should repent of whatever he did brought him no relief. He ends up calling them miserable comforters. And we've had a few of those in our lives, right? Miserable comforters. And instead, he gives in to his dark night of the soul. He cries out in despair, a despair that quickly turns into anger. And in that anger, Job discovers his dark side, that place inside of each of us where we are tempted to curse God and die, as Job's wife advises him to do. She was over it. But here he had a choice. Would he run away? Or would he allow the darkness to remind him of who he really was? In our Jesus story, we find our guy in Capernaum. He's reminding people there of who they really are. The text tells us that he was healing everyone in town who was sick or possessed by a demon. And when we hear of scenes like that, we think about movies like The Exorcist, where priests are casting out evil spirits and heads are spinning and there's projectile vomiting. I mean, that's what we think. We're casting out demons here. Perhaps there were some of those in that crowd that approached Jesus. Who knows? Nobody wrote that down. But if we use the broad definition of the Greek word for demon, which is daemon, we see that it really just means God with a little g, or an idol. We may not all be possessed by an evil spirit, but we are all possessed by our little gods and our idols. Our egoic side that becomes obsessed with the things of this world, whether it's possessions or power or prestige or wealth or fame. We all have our obsessions and our addictions to our anxieties and even to our joys in this world. Those demons, daemons, can control our lives and so overtake us with the fear of losing them that we forget about God. We forget about our spiritual growth. We gotta go pursue the stuff outside of us. And so Jesus, the scripture says, was casting out these demons. And that phrase, casting out, it literally means to deprive of power or influence. When we are cured of our ego, its power and influence is cast out of us. And we can choose love over fear when the ego no longer has power or influence over us. On a broader political level, what Jesus was doing in this town and everywhere he went was actually quite dangerous to those in charge, to the empire. Empire then, as well as now, counts on us to be addicted to our little gods and idols of ego. They count on us to be consumers. They count on us to follow the laws, even if they're oppressive, unfair, or marginalize whole groups of people. They count on us to maintain the political status quo while Not concern ourselves with what's going on among the powerful. So they count on us to be distracted by our little egoic idols and gods that make us feel separated from one another and work against each other, so we won't even notice what the powerful people are actually doing in the world. They count on us to think that what we do doesn't matter. Just hit the next, yes, I want to watch more Netflix. Yes, I want to doom scroll. If Jesus had been successful in his mission to cast out these idols, to end the power and influence of the ego over the people that he healed, those people would eventually revolutionize the collective egoic structure. They would demolish its base of fear and build a new world based on love. And those who were profiting from the fear-based structures could certainly not tolerate that kind of revolution. And it got Jesus killed. And we are no different today. We have not learned our lesson at all. We continue to kill off the messengers of love in our world, maybe not with literal crosses and nails, but by ignoring them, marginalizing them, ridiculing those who keep trying to bring the message of love into the world. That's why it's important, jubilants, for us to embrace the darkness when it descends upon us, whether individually or collectively, so we can be reminded of who we truly are. We are the teachers of God. We are the light of the world. We have been sent into this world to continue that work of Jesus, of ending the power and influence of the ego in ourselves and in the world. And to do that, we are most often told to shine our light. Bring light to the darkness in this world, and that is part of our job, but we can't shine our light into the world, not effectively anyway, until we, as A Course in Miracles tells us, bring our own darkness to the light. And what that means is that we first have to make peace with our own shadows, with that egoic dark side within all of us that tries to convince us that we have been born with some stain of sin. Stain of sin. That we're not worthy to love or be loved, or that it's arrogant to ask, well, what would Jesus do? Well, we're all little Jesuses. We're all little gods running around trying to bring light and love in the world. And if you have ever done any work on your shadow side, you know how crippling it can be. It's frightening and painful to work out the wounds of our past. The ego will tempt us to either avoid the pain or wallow in it and become a victim of our past troubles all over again. A Course, though, tells us to look at the crucifixion but not dwell on it, and that means that we acknowledge the shadows. We see them, we recognize them, and then we work to heal them so they cannot overtake us and have power and influence over us. When we bring our darkness to the light, jubilants, we allow the holy to heal our wounds, to cast out the demon of ego and make us whole again. And that word whole, we've got a lot of emotional baggage around that word. Being whole doesn't mean that we haven't been touched by pain or leveled by our anguish at some point in our lives. Being whole means that we recognize who we really are despite all of that. We are innocent. We are beloved children of God, and that frees us from the grip of our dualistic ego mind, where we're perceiving all of this separation. Our reality is, jubilants, we are already whole. We have always been. And when we live into that higher divine self, we can recognize who we really are. We are one with God. We are one with each other. Jubilants, when our darkness and our light finally become one, that's where we recognize our inherent holiness. Holiness with an H, but holiness with a WH. We are whole in our holiness. Breathe deeply. 2, 3, 4. Like a diamond from black dust, it's hard to know what we you get all the ingredients right, the seed, the soil, the fertilizer, the sunlight, the water, and the darkness, eventually what blooms arises from the darkness into the light. Everything that blooms literally brings its darkness to the light. But the darkness doesn't go away. In fact, everything that blooms, including us, remains rooted in a holy darkness. And in that darkness is the mystery of the right now and the not yet. This is the place beyond good and evil. It's that non-dualistic field that Rumi talks about, where the holy meets us. This is the place where we are fully grounded in unity with the divine. This is the fertile soil that produces miracles. And we see it in both today's Jesus story and in Job. One of the most problematic passages of Scripture, I think, is this little vignette where Jesus heals Simon's mother-in-law. Now, many of us with a more liberal bent, we tend to all get riled up when we read that once Jesus heals the mother-in-law, she gets up and starts serving the men. It's like, Jesus, she's down for the count. Oh, wait, I need tea. You're healed. Get up. Get to the kitchen. Right. Jesus wants a sandwich, so he heals the lady. I mean, and that's how the passage gets preached in some evangelical circles. Jesus needs a sandwich, you're healed, get up. But it's true that after she was healed, Simon's mother-in-law did get up and began to serve them. But it wasn't about serving them food or waiting on their needs. What's happening here is what happens in every single Jesus story about healing. Every sick person who comes to Jesus is afflicted with something that prevents them from being in community, fully and wholly in community with one another. Their illnesses make them an outcast. It makes them untouchable in some way. So what Jesus does is he restores these people to community by casting out the power and influence of those egoic idols that have made them believe that they were separate from one another. So when Simon's mother-in-law gets up, she's serving back in the community in a full and holy way. And that's the miracle that Job experienced as well. There's a point later in the story where Job suddenly stops wallowing in self-pity about his situation, and he starts to see the larger picture. Because when we're wallowing, it's about this problem. And we can't see, for a mile up. We can't really see that our little problem is not all that big when you go up higher. So he experiences a miracle of having his perception changed. He becomes aware that his suffering isn't unique. He sees instead that there are people suffering everywhere in the world, and he begins to have sympathy for those who are being oppressed, those who are abused and being unjustly treated, and he realizes that suffering is something that he has in common with everybody in humanity. And in this moment, Scripture tells us he repents, which of course means he changed his mind. And this is the miracle jubilance, the change in perspective that stripped away the power and influence of Job's selfish ego, thinking it's all about his suffering and nobody else is in the world. And he was restored to his community. In this moment of realization that he's not separate from anyone and we all share the same experience of suffering, Job brought his darkness to the light and he was made whole. What made Job's comforters so miserable was this: they put the world's fear over God's ultimate love. They were still under the power and influence of their egos. They could not unwrap themselves from the conventional thinking that God only works on a system of reward and punishment. What brought the miracle to Job was that he realized that God does not operate like that. Instead, he realized that God's rules are grounded in love and compassion, and it honors our experience of the darkness. And this released his demon. He was freed from the ego's power and influence. Theologian Matthew Fox writes that the holy darkness invites us to enter into our grief and name it and be there to learn what suffering has to teach us. Creativity cannot happen, he says, Birthing cannot happen unless the grieving heart is paid attention to. Only by passing through grief can creativity burst forth anew. And he continues, grieving is an emptying. It is making the womb open again for new birth to happen. Jubilance, our dark side is nothing to fear. Instead, this is a place of healing. This is a place of growth. This is a place of new life. And once we have brought that darkness into the light, we discover who we truly are. We are the light of the world. We are sent to manifest love and compassion into this world. And our darkness, once it is subsumed into the light, we no longer think in those dualistic terms of good or evil, light or dark, recalcitrant or not. Instead, in this moment, our true sight is restored, and we can see that everyone is our community. Everyone is our responsibility. And in this moment, that we are ready to bring that holy light in the world because we have recognized who we truly are. We are Jubilance, the light of the world, which means we are always meant to be shining. Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4. Everybody's got a dark side. Do you love me? Can you love mine? Nobody's a picture perfect, but we're worth it. You know it. Do you love me? Even with my dark side. Don't run away. Don't run away. Just tell me that you will stay. Promise me you will stay. Don't run away. Don't run away. Just promise me you will stay. Promise me you will stay. Will you love me? Everybody's got a dark side. Do you love me? Can you love mine? Nobody's a picture perfect, but we're worth it. You know that we're worth it. Do you love me? Even with my dark side. Don't run away, don't run away. Don't run away, promise you'll stay. Oh yeah. All right. All right, Cece. Where are we going now? What are we doing? Come here, Cece. Come here, Cece. One of the things that helps in fundraising is when you have cute children or dogs. Where's my cute
Cece
child?
needs your help.
Oh, is there a diaper change going on? Cal, bring me that cute child. Where's your cute child? Okay, bring me the dog.
Yeah, bring me the other dog.
It's one or the other. Here at Jubilee Circle, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we are open to puppies and children, and we love having animal and young energy in the building, and it is one of the things that we love here at Jubilee Circle, because that really is how we create community. I mean, we're not just a community of humans, we're a community of the world and everything in the world. And so when everybody's like, oh, there's a dog in there? Yeah, there's Cece is our mascot here. This place wouldn't be the same without puppies and children and the whole spectrum here in this world, because we are here to embrace it all. And so with that being said, thank you so much for the folks who have been supporting us and have supported us, especially through this incredibly long time of COVID. we appreciate you very much. And so we ask that you continue your support, and you can go to jubileecircle.com, and on the page there is a little thing that says donate, and you can donate through PayPal, through Venmo. You can write a check and send it to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240, and that will get to us as well. And we have folks who are still writing old-fashioned checks and sending it that way. So however you choose to support Jubilee Circle, we are grateful, and we thank you so much. Here comes the baby. Come on, we got to see the baby. Baby got to get on camera.
Baby.
Yeah.
He's got hair now.
All right, this is how we get money.
Feed
We
the
get
babies.
babies. We get
Donate today.
babies. This is Arlo. This is Cal and Rebecca's little baby. And in March, we will be baptizing this little feller. And y'all, oh, look at that smile.
Yeah.
And y'all will get a chance to pledge your dedication to helping Arlo become the best and most amazing and exceptional man that he is destined to be. Right, buddy?
Yeah.
Right, buddy? All right. So again, jubileecircle.com. We have babies. We're pimping out Rebecca's baby. So thank you, and if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that will be enough. That is what Meister Eckhart has told us, and we're going to talk.
Yeah, that's right.
We're all learning the new format here. I was at Lowe's yesterday getting keys, and only 1 out of 6 worked. Thanks, Lowe's. Anyway, but I was talking to the fellow who was cutting the keys, a guy about my height from Africa, who said he had a auto business, an auto repair shop on Rosewood for like 30 years, and after he retired, and I said, so this is a little bit more low-key, right? And he's like, I just do this to, right, thank you. He said, I just do this to not stare at the walls. But we got to talking, and we were talking about, he says, I'm just thankful. That's how I live my life. I just live my, I'm from Africa, and, the phrase that we always used was to, the top phrase to say is just thank you. And you thank goodness when you get up in the morning, that you're still here, you made it through the night. Be thankful all the time. And I told him about Meister Eckhart. And it was just this nice connection in Lowe's. And I was telling Lee the other day, I looked down at his name tag. His name tag was Baba. B-A-B-A. I mean, and Baba can mean, father, but also there's a Mer Baba, which is one of the spiritual folks that Lee and I enjoy reading. So it was nice that I was there with Baba telling me to say thank you. So to our online audience, we're going to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Join us again next week. And we're going to just continue our discussion in the room. So say thank you, and oh yeah.